The Division has more frustrating bugs than I can count on my two hands. From the support station not being placed when standing close to objects, to player models randomly disappearing mid-fight to... well, you get the idea. It's something different every single day. I've made plenty of bug videos already. Here's the thing though. I know that the developers are busy working on the Division 2 at this point. I can only hope that that game doesn't come with a million issues, but for the time being I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and, let them work on the Division 2 and just say, hey, it is what it is. The Division is just not a perfect game. But there's this one bug that I just can't let it go because it just ruins the PvP experience for me and for so many other players as well. And we all know it, we've all seen it plenty of times before and we all hate it. It is the running in place with your character. And no, this is not the servers or the netcode, although I'm not saying that those are perfect either, but running in place is actually a bug that can manually be activated in a very, very easy way. In fact, it happens so often in normal PvP that people have come to believe that it is just random, that it is just the servers or the netcode, but in reality, it is a bug, and a bug is something that can very easily be fixed, I think. So yeah, in this video, I'm going to explain how it works to hopefully get it fixed. Now, before you all jump at me and say that I should just make a post about this on the Ubisoft forums instead of making it a video and making it public knowledge, because of course, making a video about it is going to draw a lot of attention, it's going to cause players to do this on purpose, to grief other players in the dark zone. But let me just stop you there by saying that I found this bug live on my stream about 4.5 months ago, after which I not only made a post about it on the Ubisoft forums, but the Reddit user that goes by the name of Ballistic then also made a Reddit post about it, which then became one of the highest upvoted posts on the forum for a few days. It had over 400 upvotes and it stayed on the front page for multiple days. And on that post I also left a comment explaining again how to recreate that bug step by step, which then also got a reply from a developer saying that it has been forwarded to the team. So yeah, since then, I've just assumed that they're keeping this bug in mind, they're trying to fix it, but it is going to take some time because again, they're also working on a Division 2. I've just kept it under the rug, basically, since then. I've not talked about it, I've not showed it off on stream, I've even gone as far as deleting the VOD on my Twitch so that people with ill intentions could not find a video demonstration as easily, but now it's been 4.5 months. And here we are. The bug is still in the game. It still makes group PvP in the Dark Zone an utter mess. So really, I got two choices from here on out. I either bury this and just pretend everything is fine until the Division 2 comes out, or I make this video to hopefully put the tiniest bit of pressure on the development team to get this fixed. So let's talk about the bug. How does it work? Well, it's actually very, very simple. You're probably going to laugh at this of just how easy it is to activate, but all you need to do is get an Immunizer support station. It doesn't matter if it's yours or someone else's in your team. Then you need to make sure that while the Immunizer is up, that your agent has at least once been outside of the station radius. So if you activate the station and you're inside of the radius, just walk out for a second and then walk back in. You're fine. And if you're outside of the station to begin with, that's also cool. Then, you can activate the bug as well. After that, all that needs to happen is you need to get hit with a status effect that blocks skill usage, such as fire, EMP, or shock, and you need to use the Immunizer to either prevent the status effect or cleanse the status effect. And if you then use a skill within the time that the status effect would have stayed on the player if you did not have the Immunizer around, then your character will run in place and your character model will be desynced with the rest of the server. As an example, I've got my support station here. I've been out of the support station for at least 1 second, but now I'm just standing here. Someone else shoots an EMP sticky at me, but I don't get the EMP effect because of course I am in the support station. And then within the 12 seconds, because the EMP effect is 12 seconds long, within those 12 seconds that the EMP effect would have been on my agent if there was no support station, if I use any of my skills, that's the moment that I will start running in place, and from that moment on, my character will be desynced from the rest of the server. This works consistently with EMP stickies, EMP grenades, fire grenades, shock grenades, fire turrets, shock turrets, airburst seekers, anything really with a status effect that blocks your skills, and of course, the Immunizer. Now, when you're playing solo, you could say, well, this doesn't happen very often, which is true. But think about group play, for example, where every group member nowadays pretty much runs with an Immunizer himself. because that's the best way to heal yourself up, even at low skill power, because you can just blow up the box. And think about fighting the entire server when you're playing with 4 players. You know, everybody has an immunizer. If one guy just drops one fire turret into your station and you use a skill while the fire turret is hitting you, you're going to be running in place on their screen and you're going to be desynced from the rest of the server. And now I hope that you're starting to see the issue. EMP effects, fire turrets, shock turrets, immunizers, all of that stuff is going to cause your character to run in place. It just makes the PvP very messy. It's going to cause many players to be in a different position on their screen to where they are on someone else's screen. And because the damage in this game is client trusted, it means that you will see other people shooting you through walls and other people will see you hitting them through walls. It just makes it very inconsistent, and this is actually the reason why I've stopped playing group PvP altogether, especially when I'm streaming. As most of you probably know, I mostly play solo nowadays, because when I'm playing solo I can actually actively try to avoid this by just using the station to just blow it up instantly. But if I'm playing group, I mean, it's always going to happen. After either 5 minutes or 10 minutes of playing, people are going to desync and you're always going to die to some different stuff because, hey, someone else is standing somewhere else on someone else's screen, right? It's just too inconsistent. Now that's not everything though, because if you understand how this bug works, and some people actually do already before making this video, it can also very easily be used to exploit the game and basically use it to someone's advantage. Because yes, if you run in place, you're obviously going to become a very easy target for someone else, and you will most certainly die, even if you're running away, even if you're behind a building. You're still on that same place for someone else, and because of that he's going to be able to kill you very easily, because the damage in this game is client trusted. What he sees on his screen is true, and vice versa as well, right? But if you can do this on command, it can also work to the advantage of the player running in place. For example, here's a demonstration of me making myself run in place behind this object, and you can see that on someone else's client I'm still behind the cover, but in reality I've already walked up to them and I can just start shooting them in the face. The damage in this game is again client trusted, so what happens on my screen is king. And thus, I can just shoot them through the wall, which makes it look like from their screen like I'm using some sort of wall hack. The time that you run in place is always dependent on how long the status effect would have lasted if you didn't cleanse or prevent it with the support station. So you can run in place for a very short time when getting shocked, for example, but also for a very long time when being EMP'd, up to 12 seconds, especially when you have no disrupt resistance. This does indeed mean that running disrupt resistance on your gear is going to make you run in place less. But yeah, what happens after those 12 seconds, after the duration would have been over, is that the game is trying to play catch up with you, so to speak, because the game does realize that there's a difference between clients, that there's a difference between what you see and what someone else sees. So to compensate for the running in place, the game will often move the player's model a lot faster on everybody else's screen to kind of catch up with what really happened on the guy that was running in place. Which means that right after running in place, the character model of players will move very rapidly from place to place, following the path that the players originally took, up until the very moment that the player models are in sync again. But this can of course also be abused very heavily, because while the movement may be delayed, again the damage dealt by the player running in place is not delayed. So what someone could do is make himself run in place and then walk a certain path that he wants his character model to walk 5 seconds from now, and then he can start shooting as the running in place is about to stop, which means that he's basically ADSing, but then also sprinting at the same time, which makes it basically impossible to kill him in a straight up fight because he's super fast and super accurate. Now if you combine this with the AIDS move that is already in the game as well to create a pet, as I just said, then you could have a player doing something like this right here.
Yeah.
How does that look?
Oh shit. Oh shit.
I think we used that one. I think we did that one.
Oh my god.
I think we used that one. That's...
If I did not know any better, I would have reported myself there for straight up hacking. It just looks like a hack. I'm shooting straight headshots at these guys, but I'm also AIDS moving at the same time. But that isn't where it stops though, because this bug can also be exploited more to give yourself some unkillable frames. This is another side effect of this out of sync thing with the server, because if the two player models are too far apart, if you know you have your player model which is running somewhere and then the other player model on other players' screen which is still running in place, if those two models get too far apart from each other, like if you run in one place just one direction and just get as much distance between the two models as possible, then you will become invincible until the two models are closer together again. And keeping these two models separated far apart on purpose basically turns you into God mode for a few seconds. You can't be targeted, and thus you cannot be killed. Now, I don't want to sound over dramatic, but I hope you can all see now why I've called the PvP in the Division a big meme for the past months now, because most of the players, they're not doing all these things on purpose. In fact, 95% of the player base probably didn't even know about all of this up until this video. But we all see people running in place from time to time. We all have people that we just can't kill for a few seconds from time to time. We all have people sliding around the ground from time to time. And this all comes back to this one bug, this one exploit that basically causes people to run in place. It just happens so often that people have come to think it's the servers and that it's just random and it's just Division, but it's not. It's this bug, and this bug needs to be fixed. So yeah, you can dislike the video if you want, because yes, this video is going to cause some players to abuse the stuff on purpose. I know very well making this video, going into this, what could happen to the game. But on the other hand, if this doesn't become a big issue within the game right now, then it is most likely never going to get fixed anymore, because I do not think that the developers actually want to spend more time on the Division 1 fixing some of these things. And that's why I put this video out. I'd like to think that my channel has at least a little bit of influence on all of this stuff and is able to put at least a little bit of pressure on the developers to get this thing fixed, which is exactly what I'm trying to do right now. I'd rather take a month of just people abusing this and then the issue being fixed than another 8 months of just meme-worthy, buggy PvP. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thanks everybody for watching. If you want to share it around, you can. If not, that's also fine. I'm pretty sure that word's going to get around anyway. And if you have anything to add to this bug, if you know anything that I do not know, well, now is the time to speak up. You know where to find me. For now though, I will see you guys later. Or, like they say in the Netherlands, zie je later.